StraightallDay.com.
You're now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day, to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you're to use those personal initiative. What is that? That is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself. It's going to make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques, all underneath the umbrella of one unifying philosophy that is called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is how to be competitive in the marketplace. Before we get into that, let me tell everyone I have a daily motivation text message that I send out every day free of charge to everyone who's in my text community. If you want to get that message, and why wouldn't you, text me at my number 305-384-6894, and every day when that message goes out, you shall receive. Secondly, Work on Your Game University is your next step. If you are listening to this show, you are enjoying the show, the next thing you can do to go into the Work on Your Game world is to join Work on Your Game University, where you can get a real life education in business and personal development and your professional development. We have courses in there on your taking care of your body, your fitness and nutrition, when it comes to your people skills, when it comes to, of course, creating content, your business strategies, systems, all of those things which can apply to your personal life and your business life, all at workonyourgameuniversity.com. Also, if you would like to be coached by me, coaching programs, access is there at workonyourgameuniversity.com. All that said, let's get into the topic, which is how to be competitive in the marketplace. Now, one of the 12 Work on Your Game commandments that I talked about in I did might have been a four-part series on the Work on Your Game commandments, which was episodes number 2219 through 2222. It's a four-part series. One of them is the marketplace commandment. And the marketplace commandment says that you must sell your wares out in the open marketplace. You must prove yourself out in the open marketplace. And what the open marketplace says about you is your marketplace value. In other words, you got to go out there where it's at, and we got to see what's up based on how you show up in the marketplace in order to maximize the returns on your game. At the same time that this is true, the marketplace is a competitive place because there are other people out there competing for the same dollars and attention, and sometimes the same customers as you. Now, although the open marketplace is not always a zero-sum game, it is still competitive. So let's talk about how you can win in the open marketplace. Point number one, topic again today, is how to be competitive in the marketplace. Number one is know what the market wants and present it. We talked about this a little bit in the previous masterclass, where we talked about figuring out what does your audience want, first of all, and what do they want from you, and then are you able to provide it? What do you want to provide? Actually, it should go in the order that I just said. What does the market want? What do they want from you, and can you provide it? All right, those three questions. You got to know what the market wants. And it's not just what you want to give the market, it's what the market wants to receive. All right, those are two different things. For you to know what the market wants, you must be a student of your market. So if you want to know what smartphone users want, you got to find out what smartphone users are doing now. What's the conversation that's already going on in their minds? You need to know this stuff. And for you to know this, you got to study the market. Study the market. Not just look at it, not just see what somebody else is doing, but actually study the market. I talked about studying episode 2448, how to study for success, just a week ago. Go listen to that class again. If you listened to it already, listen to it again. If you didn't listen to it, go listen to it for the first time. You got to study the market, find out what the market is already doing, and remember that the law of inertia states people tend to continue doing what they are already doing, which means you don't need to try to reinvent the wheel with your bright new ideas. Simply give people more of what they have already proven to desire and are willing to pay for. A challenge many professionals have with this is that they look at the surface of what others are doing, they copy that, and then they wonder why it's not working, because you just copy what people are doing on the surface. What you need to do instead, here's the more professional way to do it, is you got to look deeper into the strategies of how people are doing what they're doing and why they're doing it, not just the surface outcomes of what they are offering or producing. In order for you to get deeper into the strategies of the how and the why of what people are doing, usually you're going to have to make some investments of time, money, attention, energy, and focus. You can't just look at somebody's Instagram, see that they're doing A, B, and C, and then you go do A, B, and C and get the exact same results as them. Has that ever worked for you? For the most part, the answer is no. That doesn't work. Why? Because you don't know the underlying hows and whys of what they're doing. All you see is the what. All you see is the outcomes. And if you just copy the surface level stuff that people are doing, thinking that you're going to get the same outcomes, it usually doesn't work. Because if that's all it took, then, well, a lot of things would be different in the whole marketplace, and especially in business. So you got to look deeper, and it's going to require you making some investments. So for example, if you see somebody running ads on Instagram and their business is doing well, and they're running ads on Instagram, that's the correlation. That does not mean you should just go run ads on Instagram because it's working for them. You don't know what else they're doing and how they're running their ads, how they're structuring their ads, how they're organizing them, who are they targeting with them. Those things you can't see on the surface. All you see is the ad and you see the result, but you don't see any of the other pieces that are connected to it. You don't see the underlying system or the underlying strategy, if there is one. You got to find out why those ads are working, how they're being run, the business model underneath those advertisements. You know, how are they making back the money that they're spending on ads? You don't know any of this stuff. You don't know what their budget is. You don't know any of these things. All you see is the ad. See, without the other information, you can cost yourself a lot of money and a lot of time and a lot of energy in a very short period of time because you didn't know what you were doing, because you were asking yourself the wrong question. Your question was, let me see what they're doing. They're doing that. Let me go copy it. That's the inaccurate formula. Instead, you got to get deeper into it, which are things you can't see on the surface. And again, this is why you invest in yourself, so you can learn what's actually going on underneath the surface. And the people who are playing the game at the highest level know what's going on underneath the surface, whereas the dabblers and the amateurs are only looking at what they can see on the surface and then copying that and then wondering why they're not getting the same results. Well, it's because you're not following a strategy, you're simply following tactics. And there's a big difference between being tactical and being strategic. I talked about this in episode number 2328, how to get out of tactical hell. If you don't know what tactical hell is, go listen to episode 2328 where I explain it. And in short, what tactical hell is when you are simply copying surface level things that you see other people doing, not getting the outcomes, then wondering what the problem is. And then you just do it over and over and over and over again. And you spend your entire life / career doing exactly that. And a lot of people live perpetually in tactical hell simply because they are too lazy to do the work to actually become strategic. So they just remain tactical and they keep getting the same outcomes over and over again and wondering why that's happening. You shouldn't be wondering if you're listening to this show, because I just told you why. Because you are being tactical, because you haven't done the work or made the investments to go deep. So you got to understand the why behind what people are doing, not just the what of they're doing. This requires study, introspection, and a depth of knowledge of your market. Let me say those three things again. Study, introspection, and a depth of knowledge of your market. Study means you put the time in to see what's really going on. You got to actually be reading things and consuming material that is not always so sexy and exciting, but is very informative. Introspection, meaning taking time to actually think about what's going on and why it's happening. And a depth of knowledge, meaning you need to be looking at different sources and getting the real deep information from people who know it at a level much deeper than you. Usually you're going to have to pay for that. Again, you call yourself a business person. Business people invest. All right, this is what makes them entrepreneurs. You got to get a depth of knowledge of your market. You do not need to figure this out all on your own. Again, you borrow other people's brains, it usually is going to cost you. But again, why are you in business if you're not willing to put money up? You're not an entrepreneur, you're not taking financial risks. Number 2, today's topic once again is how to be competitive in the marketplace. Number 2, stop listening to people, including yourself, who are telling you that you're fine being exactly who you are. Now, listen, if your parents tell you that you're perfect exactly how you are, that's great. If your elementary school teacher told you that, if your husband or wife tells you that, if your religious leader tells you you're great exactly as you are as a person, those are all fine. But we're not talking about any of those. We're talking about the marketplace where you're out here competing with other people who are trying to take your spot. They're trying to just cut your throat, metaphorically speaking, business-wise. Anybody who is telling you, including you, telling you that you're fine being exactly who you are if and when you are not getting the outcomes that you want is lying to you, and they're setting you up for more failure. Only time it's okay to tell yourself we're fine being exactly where we're at is if you are already in the number 1 spot, you're already winning. If you're not that, you are not fine being exactly where you're at. You need adjustments, you need edits, you need to work on your game. Unless being exactly who you are has already proven you to get exactly what you want, if it hasn't and it isn't, you need a new approach. And you need people around you who will throw truth in your face until you fix it. Let me say that again. You need people around you who will throw truth in your face until you fix it. Many people as a society are strongly avoidant of any form of accountability, which we discussed the concept of accountability many times here on this show. I'll throw you a couple of episodes here where we talked about accountability. Episode 2172, accountability as a double-edged sword. Episode 1950, are you accountable? Accountability resistance. Episode 1305, earning your right to hold people accountable. Episode 765, closing your accountability gaps. Many people don't want to hear anything less than somebody telling you how great you are. And this is how many people live their whole lives. They only want to hear from people who tell them that everything about them is great, everything you're doing is perfect. Just keep doing whatever you're already doing and it's completely fine. Even though they're telling this to somebody who doesn't have the outcomes that they want. How does that even make sense? Somebody telling you that what you're doing is fine, you just keep doing it, even though you don't have the outcomes you want. Tell me why that's a good thing. Anyone listen to me, tell me why that's a good idea. Why would you tell somebody that? They're not getting the outcomes you want. You just tell them, hey, just keep doing what you're doing. All right, you're perfectly fine. All right, this is nonsense. That's garbage advice. Anybody telling you that is setting you up to be a failure, or they're setting you up to continue being a failure because you might already be failing at this point. I mentioned before how back in the days when I used to post basketball content, which was much more, it led to much more of this kind of discussion and commentary, because basketball is something we can visually see as opposed to these topics when we're talking about mindset and business, things that are much more intangible. But with basketball, I would post material and I would get a lot of comments from basketball players who were up and coming and trying to get advice, and they would ask a question about their situation and I'm not getting playing time, I don't get the ball, I'm not getting better, etc., etc. And often I would throw truth in these players' faces and tell them, well, based on what you told me, you simply are not as good of a player as you think you are. All right, you need to become a better player. All right, you're sitting on the bench because there are players on the team who are better players than you. All right, you're not getting the outcomes you want because you haven't put the time in yet, you haven't put the work in yet, and you are delusional, telling yourself that you deserve something that you simply have not earned. I would tell players this, and often I would get people who would come in behind my comment of telling players this and try to give the players some self-affirming comment, and they would say something like, well, hey, if you just keep believing in yourself, or you just keep working hard, or there's nothing wrong with your game, you know, this player didn't get success early in their career either, so if you just keep believing in yourself and working hard and showing up, everything's going to just work out. People just come in and just tell them, just whatever you're already doing or whatever you're already believing, just keep doing it, keep believing it, things are just going to work out. Why? All right, why? Is this some fucking magic trick? Is this going to happen? Things are just going to start working out just because you just keep doing the same stuff that is already proven to not work? That makes no sense whatsoever. But people would tell this kind of stuff to people in the comment section all the time, and I'm just using that as an example, but this happens in life every day. People have this happen every day. Some of you do this to yourself every day. You are not getting the outcomes that you want. You know you're not getting the outcomes that you want, but then you go find some material from whoever that tells you you should just keep being who you are, keep thinking how you think, keep believing what you want to believe, and things are just going to start working out randomly. Randomly, things are just all of a sudden abracadabra. They're just going to start working out when they haven't been working for the last 3 years, the last 7 years. They're just going to start working out without you making any adjustments whatsoever. What's the definition of insanity again, folks? Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different outcome. Many people don't want any form of accountability. You see, one form of accountability is somebody just telling you to your face what you're doing is not working and you need to do something different. That's accountability. That's someone holding you to account for the fact that what you're doing ain't producing the result that it's supposed to be producing. This is where we get into the difference between being right and being accurate. See, being right is about serving your ego. Being accurate is about serving the outcome. Which one are you actually trying to do? And you can't do both most of the time. You got to pick one. Many people don't want to hear anything less than being told how great they are, how all your problems and shortcomings are a result of externalities, meaning it's someone or something else's fault. It has nothing to do with you. And it's not a result of anything that you're doing or not doing. It's just the world needs to change and then things will start working out for you. Bullshit. This mindset will keep you broke and will make you an abject failure in everything that you do, even though you will feel good and you will soothe your weak ego in the process of feeling good. This is why all the best performers out there, all the high level performers in the world, they all have coaches and they all have trainers around them. Why? Because those coaches and trainers are constantly reminding the top performers of where they need to improve instead of telling them why they are perfect as they already are. There is value in building up a baseline level of confidence, folks. I'm not saying that confidence doesn't matter and someone telling you that you're great, even you telling yourself that you're great doesn't matter. It does matter. But past that, you need somebody to tell you where you need to get better. All right, again, why do the highest level athletes who are already better than everybody have coaches? I mean, they're already better than everybody. Why do you have coaches telling them where they need to sharpen up and get more on point? Because that's how they stay on point. Why does your favorite singer have a voice coach? They're already a better singer than everybody out there. Because that's how they stay the best singer. Everybody understand? Iron sharpeneth iron. This is why the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. Because the rich, they keep doing things that keep them rich. Like holding themselves accountable, like being told where they're making mistakes, like not allowing themselves to slip. Whereas the poor get poorer because they keep doing things that made them poor in the first place, telling themselves that they're perfect as they already are, giving themselves self-validation and self-affirmation of their bullshit, and they keep going deeper and deeper into the abyss. This is why the gap keeps widening between the people who are succeeding and the people who are failing. Like, this has nothing to do with the government, has nothing to do with any kind of setup, has nothing to do with any type of systemic anything, any kind of ism that you want to name. It is based on people's conscious and involuntary decisions that they make on a day-to-day basis. Point number 3. Today's topic, once again, is how to be competitive in the marketplace. Number 3 is WOYFG. Anybody know what that stands for? Work on your fucking game. That's what it stands for. There is way too much just be you pornography out here in the world today for my liking. Just be you pornography. What does that mean? It's material that feels good while you're consuming it, but in the end, you're only fucking yourself. That's pornography. Just be you porn. People just saying, all right, whoever you are and whatever you're doing right now, whatever ideas you have, whatever beliefs, whatever processes, whatever systems, whatever executions you have going on right now, they're perfect as they are. Just keep doing that and things are going to work out. When it is already proven to not work out. All right, that's porn. All right, it's not helping you. Just being you will get you more of what you already have now. So if what you already have now is exactly what you want, just keep being exactly who you are. All right, if you're good with it, I am also. But if you're not good with exactly where you're at and who you are right now, then just being you is not a working strategy. That's an inaccurate formula. We need to change that. So if you aren't going to live in the same year every year for the rest of your life, Groundhog Day, then go ahead. All right, it's your life. You do what you want. If that's not what you want, you need improvement and advancement. And improvement and advancement are a result of investments. Improvement and advancements come from investments. Not telling yourself that the world or the marketplace needs to accept you as you are. Not telling yourself that God's going to take care of you. No, God gave you life and free will to make of yourself what you wish. All right, this ain't God's job. All right, this is your job. He gave you a job to be who you're going to be. So what are you doing with it? If your current situation and process is not producing exactly what you want, then there are changes and adjustments that need to be made. They need to be made by you. They need to be spearheaded by changes in your actions. We'll start with changes in your mentality. Stop telling yourself things that make you feel good but are not helping you do good. This is costing you time and it is wasting your life. And when you get to wherever you're going after this life is over and you meet your higher being, they're going to hold you accountable. They're going to say, hey, I gave you free will to become whoever you want to become. You sat there talking about I was going to take care of it. No, it's not my job. That's your job. I gave you free will to do that. So all of this talking about some higher spirit's going to take care of you. No, they're not. They already took care of you. That's how you got here. Now is your turn to take over. All that said, let's recap today's class, which is how to be competitive in the marketplace. This is one of the 12 work on your game commitments, is that you have to go out into the open marketplace to find out your value and improve your value if you believe you already have some. Let's talk about how you can win out here. Number 1, know what the market wants and present it. Not what you want to give the market, but what the market actually wants. And remember the law of inertia, people tend to keep doing what they're already doing. So give people more of what they have already proven that they are interested in, and you are at least on the right track to being successful. You don't need to figure everything out on your own, by the way. Go find people who are already playing the game and already winning, and they will tell you exactly what approach you need to take. Point number 2, stop listening to people telling you that you're fine being exactly who you are, and unless you already have the exact outcomes that you want. And these people include yourself. So if you're telling yourself that you're perfect exactly as you are, even though you don't have the outcomes you want, you are giving yourself a bunch of bullshit that's going to keep you in the same spot. Number 3, work on your fucking game. There's way too much just be you porn out here today for my liking. Just being you is going to get you more of what you already have. You're going to be basically living Groundhog's Day. If that's not what you want, then you must make changes. All right, stop telling yourself that God's going to take care of you. No, God's not going to take care of you. God gave you free will. You got to do what you want to do. So what are you doing with that free will? All right, any changes you want to make must be made by, they must be spearheaded by changes in your mindset, which leads to changes in actions, that leads to changes in outcomes. So stop telling yourself things that make you feel good but are not helping you do good. It's costing you time and wasting your precious life. All said, text me, tell me the best insight you got from today's class. My number is 305-384-6894. And when you are ready, what you should be, to take the next step in your development, you're ready to make investments in yourself to go to the level that you're supposed to be at, go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. And let's get started in taking your game where it needs to be personally and professionally. Work on your game. Dre all day.